Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Cobra Commander event in which the Apophisis added to the game, so let's get into that. So, Apophisis, it is an epic, so it comes in with only 200 glory per arcane trait stone. As far as red-yellow, you would use this mainly for Valkyrie and any of the red-yellow empowered earlier on in the game, and later in the game, you would use it for things like Divinia, the new bleed troop from Fangmore, as well as any of the mythics I end up using, as well as Quillin. And as far as the troop, it is yet another first turn convert something into skulls. We got one of these a few weeks back, and now we already have another one. The first one did a bunch of attack, but this one now does life to the first ally, both of which will help keep the first ally alive. You could even synergize them both together. Of course, it has empowered, so you could use it immediately. And yeah, it converts all greens to skulls. So, yep, could have some good first turn potential skull spam into various teams. The first thing that actually comes into mind, oddly enough, is the buff that they just did last week. Wild Queen actually synergizes quite perfectly with this, since Wild Queen creates green skulls and Skull Storm, and this converts all green to skulls, so pretty good synergy there. But plenty of other things you could use it with, as well as the other troop that they just added a few weeks ago that has empowered skulls, so you have two of them now that can synergize together. And if nothing else, can stock up on red-yellow for everything that you might need it for. As far as the... No, don't do that. I'm pretty sure I didn't click on that. That was the automatic one opening up. But anyways, as far as other stuff with this event, we have 10% to all undead, 10% to all monsters, nothing really too interesting there. 40 extra souls whenever we use this thing in PvP, not really worth going out of your way for it, but if you're going to bother putting this into the skull spam team, hey, at least you get some free skulls along the way. And speaking of PvP, you got to do a bunch of PvP this week just to enable all of these rewards. Luckily, it does have that nice big 120 gem, actually everything gem related here, as well as gem keys, so great rewards this time around. PvP is generally pretty easy to stack these up. Worst comes to worst, you could just do one trophy casual PvP and just keep repeating it, or just fight all the fire bombs and other things that are super easy to kill, and just rack up kills very easily that way for everything that you would need. As far as the event key drop table this week, it is a very insanely good drop table for mainly one reason and one reason only. It is a Kedar event, which means there is a special mythic that is available in the event key drop table, which is... Where on earth did he go? Where did he? Hello, Pharos-Ra, where'd he go? I missed him like 4 times now. There he is! But yeah, Pharos-Ra is in the event key drop table. He's one of the only few mythics in the entire game, pretty much the only mythic other than like maybe Megavore, that it actually is good having multiple copies of it, particularly the first 2 copies. 3 and 4 can also somewhat be helpful. However, they don't really have much of an increase, if any, compared to 2. But yeah, having at least 1 or 2 Pharos-Ras is highly, highly, highly advised if you don't currently already. He is the best soul farming troop in the game, and every single Pharos-Ra you get is basically at minimum like 10,000 more souls per hour, at least for the first 2 anyways. But yes, really great for soul farming teams. Pretty much Dragon Soul double Pharos-Ra into anything with Purple Storm tends to be one of the most common, insanely good soul farming teams. Of course, there's other versions that you happen to get 3, like Dragon Soul triple Pharos-Ra, Valkyrie triple Pharos-Ra, stuff like that. But any team that uses 1, 2, or 3 of him are the best soul farming teams in the game, so highly advised to go and get him. He's also a pretty good one-shotting troop. Once he has all of his damage between his boost ratio off of how many souls he has, he can normally get one shot on most things, at least in a PvP context. Yeah, really great troop to go get. Most of the other stuff from this kingdom isn't really too good. Maybe you'll end up picking up a Keeper of Souls along the way. But for the most part, if you were to bother opening event keys, your sole purpose to attempt for Pharos-Ra, do keep in mind it could take literal hundreds upon hundreds of event keys before you get it. Possibly even the low thousands, so do be mindful of that if you are going to go for it. But, however, the Path of Glory, it is not 4.3 yet, so the Spoils of War, has not been nerfed yet, so you can still buy this infinitely if you still need more event keys for that. And enjoy that while you can, because we probably only have like a few more weeks until the next patch gets here, maybe even sooner. We still don't have a official date yet. Anyways, before I go into the Invasions event this week, there is one nerf buff, I don't even know what to call it, that just happened today. And some of you have probably already noticed, it is to Dragon's Eye. So they finally ended up changing this, and ironically, it's the inverse of what they did before. The previous nerf to Dragon's Eye ended up making it worse in Delves, but better in PvP. This update to it basically did the exact inverse of that, in which it's better in Delves, but now it's worse in PvP. Basically, there's 2 or 3 changes, depending on how you look at it, that ended up happening to this weapon. The first and most noteworthy is now it hits the last enemy instead of a random enemy. So it always consistently hit the exact same thing. However, it is going to keep hitting the same thing, which normally is not necessarily a good thing. However, this does make it a 100% chance that you know exactly what it's going to be hitting. So in the case of something like Delves, this is pretty useful if you're trying to use it with, let's say, High King Iron Gut. You can just go and devour all of the last slots away, and then once you finally reach something that has immune to devour or impervious or anything like that, you can then cast your Dragon's Eye and know you have a 100% chance, even if there's still multiple things on the opposing team, that's going to hit that last slot, and then you can devour it and keep repeating down the rest of the team. So going to be really good for Delves, and actually an improvement to it, not even a nerf. However, this will of course be a nerf in most contexts within PvP. Within PvP, you don't normally want it hitting the last slot every single time, especially if you're doing it with something like Megavore. It might synergize a little bit with the fact that you would be using it with Highforge, but since he'd be hitting the back anyways. But for the most part, this is going to make it way weaker for PvP. Not only that, it'll also, the second part of it is the Baby Dragon will now have Empowered. In a PvP context, unless you're in super early game, this is not going to be that good, because in late game, everyone's Baby Dragon is just going to summon their troop at a really high level, likely with all traits, because it'll just come in through, if they already own it and already have it upgraded, it'll come in with whatever it has. So it's going to be basically just a really strong dragon that's going to come out of whatever they end up getting, like an Elmagrim, a Divinia, or whatever it might transform into. Oddly enough, this is pretty weak in Delves, though, because whenever a baby dragon uses its ability in Delves, when it was summoned into the battle, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't actually double checked this yet, but to my understanding, it should come in at a very, very low level, because it's first going to get halved, and then that baby dragon is going to lower down the level of the summon by quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually going to help out Delves even more. Nothing else is still going to be pretty easy to clean up in Delves, or really with anything with like Weaver or any of the other last hitting slots that end up doing a lot of damage to the last 2 slots, or simply to the last slot in general. But overall, yes, Dragon's Eye has been rebalanced and is overall probably slightly better, I would say. Obviously, you won't be using it as much on defend, but as far as instances where you would actually use it invasively, like for mainly Delves, it's actually an improvement. So overall, really nice. The only third change that they're making is it's not coming in until next patch. You guys have probably already heard of it as well, and that is Blessed will have immune to transform starting next patch. So to counter Dragon's Eye, all you would have to do is put a immunity to transform on your last slot starting next patch, and you'd be good to go. The only thing that could really consistently do that at the moment is basically Quillen, and it's not even guarantee, as there is no guarantee Blessed for that yet, but they'll probably come in the future. Anyways, on to evasions. Also, I will be covering more stuff with Dragon's Eye in its own little video. I just didn't want to take too much time with it, otherwise half this video would be on Dragon's Eye. Anyways, we're going to go on to invasions now. Of course, we have this Ankit thing. I'm going to be doing it with the new weapon that just came in, the Dead Gauntlet. You would most likely want to do this with Earth's Fury, but I figured I'd show it with Dead Gauntlets first, since some people might not have Earth's Fury. X-Raider for the Skull Spam, and the Apophisis for the other Skull Spam. So this thing's a little bit dangerous, this invasion troop this time around. It has really high damage output, however, it has no skull mitigation whatsoever. And it also has 7 skull creation, which is technically good, but that could easily backfire, since 7 is not necessarily enough to consistently get a extra turn. So right here, speaking of extra turn, we have green to skull right here, so I could actually grab that for an extra turn. So we'll just go take that. He's going to be able to hit us back. Again, we don't have any skull protection there, so it is going to hurt a little. I don't think we have any good... Oh, yes, we do have a good drop there. We can just grab that for some purple. We got this weapon up. It does create a bunch of purple and blue onto the board based on undead, and we are restricted to only undead for invasions this week, so you can end up getting quite a bit of mana out of that. I guess we'll go cast it real quick just to go and show it. We'll stick that. Get a nice big hit, get all of our mana. Ideally, we'd have alignment here. Doesn't look like we have it. We could try for this. I think I'll take the skull first, and then we'll go for it. So let's get our kill there. Oh, actually, could have gone for X-Raider too. We already had it, but there we go. We end up getting a quick kill off of that, and pretty much as simple as that. And that's pretty much what I'll be using for most of them, except I'll probably be replacing this out for Earth's Fury into the later battles, just so that we have a little bit more of a consistent way of giving attack to literally everything. And it also helps boost this attack to be way higher than it normally is. You actually get more of a benefit from using Earth's Fury than Mang during invasions, simply because of the boost ratio. Assuming you have a 5 times boost ratio, it's actually better value overall than what a Mang would be giving you, oddly enough. But if you don't have that, you can just be using Dead Gauntlet, and it should get you pretty far. Still just using something along the lines of that. Anyways, next order of business. All the event stuff we have this week. So, Tuesday, we already have the Dark Pits event. We just had Dark Pits, 2 Fridays ago? Not this most recent Friday, but the previous Friday. And we already have the event for it, so yeah, you could go do more of that soon. The Soul Pet is on Wednesday. Of course, this has been out for a while, but a little bit more Soul percent. Thursday is the Necromancer hero class. This is a hero class commonly used for soul farming. Pretty much everything this week is related to souls. And Friday, for the rest of this weekend, we will have a Vault event. So this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is a great time to go grind literally anything, particularly explore if you need trait stones or just resources in general. Since there'll be so many gnomes, you'll be able to get Vault keys, you'll be able to get Centric Sparkle Sack if you still don't have them for gold-related teams, and you'll just be able to farm up a lot of good, high-quality resources. The best time to ever really play the game, whenever the Vault event comes every 3 days, once a month, which will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, just because the overall loot you'll be getting is way higher, regardless of what you're doing, pretty much, other than treasure hunt. But as long as you're doing like PvP, explore, anything like that, your overall loot will be greatly increased. So, Soulforge related stuff. We have ourselves some few good things that are worth crafting. The most noteworthy being High King Iron Gut. High King Iron Gut is probably around top 5 as far as crafting first. He is also, I would say, the best delve option in the entire game at this current moment in time, simply because it could pretty easily get a 100% chance to devour, and with the buff that they just did to Dragon's Eye for delves, it makes it even easier in order to use the combination of Dragon's Eye into High King Iron Gut. So really no reason not to use it. Dragon's Eye you get for 250 wins off of Dragon Guard hero class, and then you can go craft this guy, and once you have that, boom, you can pretty much win all of delves that are yellow, blue, or brown with that. Even easier if there's Apothecary being able to be used, since you can just run Apothecary into the mix and just feed all the brown into both of them. But yeah, really great combo. Dragon's Eye, High King Iron Gut can win every single delve where it can, where it's applicable, where it can actually be used. So great combination to have. Other than that, we do have Elamagrim. Elamagrim is noteworthy in that it's pretty good on Purple Guild War days. With Wild Queen, that's also another option these days. However, Elamagrim Infinite Loop on Purple Day is still pretty strong. And other than that, while he's not that good of a troop, Jotnar Storm Shield is required for 10-star plus on Stormheim, so if you want an extra HP, if you're getting close to that point, he is available for that. As far as legends are concerned, I probably wouldn't bother with any of them. Glitter Claw and Grapple Pot are somewhat okay. However, I wouldn't really bother spending 800 diamonds just to get them, neither of which are excessively good. If it was like a Dragon Soul or something, I would say maybe. But while both of these are good troops, they're not really worth the 800 diamonds, I would say. I would just say ignore the legends this time around. Anyways, let's go head over to PvP and go show 2 teams with the Apophisis and see what we can do with this. Speaking of Wild Queen, I did have to go and use this. I will be showing a cheaper team in a moment, but couldn't not do Wild Queen. That's just screaming to use Wild Queen. Every single thing about it is just perfect synergy with her. But looks like we have a little bit of a bad starting board, so let's let him do a thing. Red. We don't need red. Well, we kind of need red, but we don't need red now. So we don't need red. So we'll grab that, get Apothecary. We'll throw that down onto blue because it's our only extra turn chance we really have here. That gives us Mountain Crusher, which we'll be using to clear out the board whenever we need, kind of like right now. So we'll go to that. I do ideally want to cast Wild Queen before I end up casting this. So I'm going to go for another explosion, go all the way on Apothecary, and should be good to go from there. So I'll steal his attack so we can't do anything. That'll likely kill him out. And we'll go from there. So we do have skull alignment on that, and now let's get a billion skulls. We already got the attack buff from Wild Queen. We get the HP buff from the Apophisis, just off of the ability itself. And we just keep it going. Okay, what do we need here? We have it on blue. Do we have it on anything? We have it on purple. Grab that. I'll get Wild Queen back up. I'm actually not going to take that just because I want to take the extra turn instead off of that. And never mind, we already won. Well, that's that. But yeah, the team's actually not that bad at all. I'm not sure if that's actually good enough to be like a team that I use as like a main PvP team. But this combo is definitely really solid if you do have a Wild Queen. Wild Queen's value just like exponentially went up within the last few weeks between that buff and that new troop. Not to mention she is required for a +1 attack off of Pan's Veil as well. So she has a lot going for her these days. Anyways, if you want a cheap team with it, here's a bunch of stuff that's epic and below. Well, not counting Mountain Crusher, but Mountain Crusher is easy enough to obtain. Legend and below if you count Mountain Crusher as legend. Anyways, basically just a triple empower team. Feels weird being able to use that many empowereds, but yeah, we can get away with that. Oh no, what did he freeze us on? He did not just freeze us on that. Why do you have to do that? Okay. What's plan B? Plan B is throw all the skulls. So we'll do that. Do that. Plan B seems to be working. Take the other skull. We have it on Enrage because I'm using Titan on Enrage right now just because it works a little bit better. Do I have alignment? No, we do not. Let's load everything then. We're frozen on red, so I can't really even use them. What do we take here? Is it even worth it? Probably not. Can't really do anything with this, so we'll take a skull for now. And now we just need 2 more hits. And dead. 2 more hits are right there already. And as you can see, double empowered skulls can win pretty quick. Of course, you need to make sure you have a good starting board, but the reason for using Mountain Crusher in both of them is if you ever have a bad board, you can simply just go and wipe out the entire board while still utilizing your hero for various benefits like Enrage or Barrier or whatever else you might want to use mechanic-wise off of it. But anyways, yeah, pretty good, decent troop that ended up coming in this week. Might even be a little bit better than the previous one that ended up coming in, though they're both pretty much the same premise. You just get a bunch of skulls at the start of your turn, and hope you just have the board that can actually work with it. Definitely really good with Wild Queen if you have it laying around. And overall, a great week to go gain souls, since pretty much everything is related to souls. Best of luck if you're going to be opening up any event keys for the Pharos-Ra. If you guys still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I will catch you all later. Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful week.